When the Lakers squared off against the Pelicans, what unfolded wasn't just a basketball game, it was a public dismantling that left one of the league's brightest young stars visibly broken. As the Lakers systematically tore apart the Pelicans' game plan, the cameras caught what every NBA analyst would later dissect: the moment Zion Williamson's confident demeanor transformed into the 1,000-yard stare of a player watching his team's competitiveness evaporate in real time. On the same night, LeBron James made history by crossing the mythical 50,000 point threshold.
22 seasons, 40 years of age, LeBron James!
The Lakers didn't just win, they dealt a psychological blow that could reverberate through the Pelicans' locker room for weeks to come. The deceptive beginning: the Lakers entered this matchup riding a 6-game win streak, while the Pelicans had been finding their rhythm with 5 victories in their previous 7 outings. On paper, this had the makings of a competitive contest. The opening moments even suggested as much. Turnovers, the Lakers' persistent weakness, gave New Orleans early life.
Poked away by Z, and do it yourself.
Zion poked the ball away and finished with authority on the break, flexing toward his bench with the confidence of a young star ready to make a statement in a marquee matchup. That confidence would be short-lived. LeBron, defying the limitations of his 40-year-old body, responded with defensive intensity that younger players couldn't match: crisp closeouts, perfect rotations, and veteran anticipation that disrupted the Pelicans' offensive flow. The message was clear: experience was about to teach youth a harsh lesson. Luka Doncic, an insult to injury. If LeBron's defensive effort wasn't demoralizing enough, Luka Doncic turned this game into his personal highlight reel at the Pelicans' expense. The Slovenian maestro broke every tendency the Pelicans had scouted. He rejected screens when film study said he never would. He exploded to the rim when his reputation suggested he'd settle for jumpers.
Here's another three put up by the Pellies, and that one didn't draw iron.
He unleashed an arsenal of moves that left Pelicans defenders looking like bewildered practice cones. His man does: for the moment, he'll just step back and swish it through. With each impossible shot, with each no-look pass that found its target, you could see the Pelicans' collective spirit diminish. The defenders, who started the game with active hands and energetic closeouts, began standing upright, arms at their sides, the universal body language of basketball resignation. 50K salt in the wound, as if the Pelicans needed another reminder of the gap between their young core and basketball royalty. The night became historic when LeBron crossed the 50,000 point threshold on a perfectly timed assist from Doncic. LeBron opened 3, got it. 22 seasons, 40 years of age, LeBron James, 50,000 points. The arena erupted in celebration of individual brilliance, while the Pelicans could only watch, unwilling participants in a moment that would overshadow any contribution they might make to this game.
He's starting to feel good too, because he's really playing to the crowd.
The contrast was striking: a celebration of career longevity on one bench, the growing realization of present inadequacy on the other. The Zion problem: from dominant to dominated, the Pelicans' offensive formula centered around Zion Williamson's unstoppable force in the paint.
Fouled. The foul is on Zion.
Dominant hands.
Blocked by Williamson.
CJ McCollum's perimeter shooting and athletic wings punishing defenses in transition. The Lakers systematically dismantled each pillar. Their approach to Zion was clinical: show him multiple bodies, force him right, make him uncomfortable. Early in the game, Williamson countered with determination, bullying his way to the rim despite the strategy. His body language was assertive, his movements explosive, but as the Lakers' lead expanded and their defensive execution tightened, Zion's forceful drives gave way to hesitant probes. The explosiveness that defines his game became increasingly sporadic. The cameras caught him looking toward the bench with increasing frequency, the universal signal of a player seeking answers his coaches couldn't provide. When Zion picked up his 3rd foul on a questionable call, bad foul, really bad, his trudge to the bench wasn't just about the foul trouble, it was the body language of a young star watching his impact on the game diminish with each passing minute. Momentary hope crushed. Without Zion, the Pelicans improbably mounted a 17-4 run that briefly transformed the Lakers' 13-point cushion into a 1-point Pelicans lead. For a fleeting moment, hope returned to the visitors' bench. LeBron and Luka made sure that hope was short-lived. A barrage of 3-pointers, perfectly executed pick and rolls, and defensive stops followed. Fresh snow from the outside for LBJ. With each Lakers basket, the camera caught Zion on the bench, towel over his head, peeking occasionally at the scoreboard as if hoping the numbers had somehow changed in the moments he wasn't looking. When Willie Green reluctantly reinserted Zion despite his foul trouble, the brief surge of energy he provided, bully ball, that is big boy basketball, Joe. only highlighted how dependent the Pelicans had become on his individual brilliance. The breaking point the third quarter is when embarrassment transformed into complete demoralization. The Lakers' improved defensive identity was on full display as Jared Vanderbilt disrupted passing lanes, and even Doncic, often criticized for defensive lapses, jumped into passing lanes with newfound energy. Taken now by Doncic, you love to see it. Their improvement on defense is clear and impressive. Meanwhile, Luka solved every defensive scheme the Pelicans deployed, finding open shooters with surgical precision regardless of how many defenders New Orleans sent his way. It's going to be V in the corner for three. They were right up against it too, right up against it. The cameras caught the precise moment when competitive fire gave way to resignation in Zion's eyes. After a Doncic step-back three over tight defense, Williamson's shoulders slumped noticeably as he walked to the huddle during a timeout. The Pelicans coaching staff animated gestures contrasted with the blank expressions of players who had mentally checked out. This wasn't just a bad quarter. This was the visual evidence of a young team being systematically broken down by a veteran squad executing at the highest level. The LeBron-Luka show. The fourth quarter wasn't basketball, it was basketball theater with the Lakers as the only actors with speaking roles. The LeBron-Luka connection in particular bordered on showboating as they executed lobs and no-look passes with the freedom of a team practicing without defenders. LeBron took it away. LeBron with the lob connect and Bron were serving each other lobs. Zion continued attacking the paint out of professional pride. He has the paint, he's going to the line looking at the and one play. That's his right, but his explosive moves now carried the mechanical quality of a player going through the motions rather than competing with championship intensity. As Doncic notched his 15th assist, joining an elite Lakers fraternity with Jerry West, Magic Johnson and LeBron James as the only Lakers players in history to notch 30-plus points and 15-plus assists in a game, the contrast couldn't have been starker. On one side, history and excellence. On the other, a talented young core learning just how far they had to go. Mercy at last with 4 minutes remaining and the outcome decided beyond any reasonable doubt. Both coaches cleared their benches. For the Pelicans, it was mercy. For the Lakers, it was a victory lap. The final margin, 21 points, didn't fully capture the psychological gap between the teams. This wasn't just a loss for New Orleans, it was the type of comprehensive dismantling that forces front offices to question roster construction and coaches to reevaluate game plans. As Zion disappeared down the tunnel while Lakers role players celebrated on the bench, the story of this game was written across his usually expressive face: blank, defeated, searching for answers that this night wouldn't provide. The Lakers didn't just win their 7th straight game, they sent a message to a rising Western Conference team: not yet, not while LeBron defies age, not while Luka orchestrates at an MVP level, not while this veteran squad maintains championship aspirations. For the Pelicans and their young star, this wasn't just a loss in the standings, it was a stark reminder of the gap between potential and achievement, between promising youth and proven excellence. The scoreboard showed a 21-point margin, the reality was far more devastating.